Hey, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I want to, thank you for being here today. For the people tuning in right now, I really want to appreciate everyone for logging in. I'm really excited for today's topic. Bringing on Gomathy to talk about an escape room that she actually built in Power BI with the theme of Harry Potter that I actually heard from her back in November, where she reached out, kind of just asking for some thoughts and opinions on this. And you know, I will say, like, initially, like, with a lot of messages on LinkedIn, it's one of those. It's like, okay, like, is this just another one of those check out my website things? And because I get so many of those now, or like people who want to connect, and then, oh, actually, now that we're talking, let me sell you this sales strategy I have. But I took a peek at it and, like, oh, this is actually a really cool, unique item. It's not just a generic COVID report or something else like that, and I was very impressed. And I know, like, you got featured on the Power BI Tips website. Mike Carlo did a repost on that, which was amazing. And I just thought, like, in a live stream format, this would be a really cool way to um, maybe just to talk a bit about what was used, because I know there's a lot of components and gears in this. So like, it's one of the reasons I really wanted to bring you on. So if you want to give a little background about yourself as well, so, please feel free.
Yeah, sure. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Gomathy. I work as a data scientist at this management consulting firm called the Math Company, which is in Bangalore. So I think it's been a little over a year since I started working, and it's been entirely on Power BI. And thanks to you guys have made it extremely easy for people like me to just pick it up because every single topic you guys have a video out there. So I mean, it just took me less than a year to create this escape room, so that should tell you, how useful all of your videos are. So that's how it started, and I just wanted to show all of you guys, just at least the ones who are not familiar or fascinated with Power BI yet. The first visual that I built on Power BI was actually this. If you can go to the version.
This is one of my favorites, and I love the fact that if the data gets bad enough, the fish flips over and floats to the top and it dies. So, like, if you have, like, teams competing against each other, like, no, you're the dead fish this month.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. This is the first thing that I actually created on Power BI, and I was just super impressed. And this was actually the first one that I built. And I actually assumed that all of the visuals would actually be animated, which didn't happen. But yeah, this was the reason that I got hooked into Power BI, and that's how everything else happened.
There's one just quick
Yeah.
comment that I, even before we actually started, that I really appreciate. So I'm just gonna throw it on the screen for a second. But it's, you took my three favorite topics and put them together, which is escape rooms, Power BI, and Harry Potter.
Yeah, that actually, when I was reaching out to like a bunch of people on LinkedIn, right? I think I spoke to Parker Stevens, and he said that his wife loves Harry Potter so much. So he was like, okay, I'm going to show her. And, he works in Power BI a lot too. So it's like two things in one. So I got a lot of comments about this. But actually, funnily enough, I am not a fan of Harry Potter. So I have just watched the movies. It was my friend who I created this with. Her name is Ashwini. She couldn't be here today. So she is a huge Potterhead. So she was the one who got the data sets and everything, and I just had to make it better. So that's yeah.
I'd still like, if you've actually seen the movies, at least I'd consider yourself a Harry Potter fan. I actually, just as a random, like, mention of people who call themselves do and don'ts, like, I have a friend who is obsessed with Baby Yoda. She has, like, a T-shirt, but she's never seen the TV. She's never seen the TV show.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, like, did you want to? Where do you want to start? Like, what would be the best flow for you?
Okay, so I just wanted to start with, the genesis of probably the escape room, why we started it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so let me just start with that. So, my organization, just a little bit of background, right? So, everyone in my organization kind of hate Power BI. They love Tableau. And so the sentiment of Power BI is a little bit negative. So we had to create something cool. So we were asked to conduct a session on, just taking a few tricks and people through Power BI. So when we decided to create an escape room, we knew it's going to be amazing, but we wanted people to take it up, right? So, which is why we kind of made it a contest in our org. So we added a little bit of Power Apps so that I can, find out the time that you take to solve the escape room. So the fastest one who actually got out got like Amazon vouchers as, a prize. So that's how we made around, I think, 70% of our entire org tried it, and I think out of those, 40% of them had never seen a Power BI dashboard before. So that's how it started, and yeah, I think. Another thing is, I mean, a lot of people don't experience what they built, right? So if you become the end user first and experience your dashboards, you would kind of understand what the important elements of, every single thing that
Yep.
you create. As a creator, it probably won't seem like, the title is really important, but for someone who's looking at the dashboard, right, the title is like the first thing that they see. So this was another thing that we wanted to drive. We wanted people to experience what they're building first, and then, get into the creating or learning how to create it.
When
So that was
and
the idea.
and just to add to the idea that you were talking about with the titling and everything else, like it's one of the things that I try to teach is, people read top to bottom, left to right. So there's very much kind of like a flow that you need to have in a report where first bit of information, I guess for people on the screen would be, there we go. It's always flip for the camera, upper left, and then it
Yeah,
flows down. It flows down the report. So you should design, the information flow in a similar way as it tells the story.
exactly. Yes, yeah. So that's how it started. So why don't you help me solve it, and maybe even people who are joining in can help us
Sure,
go through it.
absolutely. Flip
Let
over.
me just cool. So these are instructions that everyone ignores, but please read through them. Cool. So we've got random scrolls lying around. So those are like little hints that will
Yep.
help you on your quest. And you have to hit enter after you enter your answers, because we've used what if parameters, which I'll get to later. But it's basically an input box, right? So once you do it, you have to hit enter. And if you have the right answers, you're going to get the key to go to the next room. And just to filter interactions, if you have two charts, you got to be aware that one filter can affect the other, even though it's not visible in the screen. And then we've got question 1 to 7, and you just have to hover over them to look at the questions, and also similarly the hints. And the last two are really, really important. Just be curious and have fun. All right,
Perfect.
cool. Let me begin. Cool. So why don't you just guide me, and I will just follow whatever you're saying.
Yeah. Let's I like I my instinct is usually is adventurers always go left. That's a phrase that I've had with my board game friends for years. So let's find something on the left side. Oh yeah, there's a scroll to open. And also, like, I love the fact that you use the tooltips, which is great.
Yeah, you see a lot of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So this is okay. Wow, Hagrid. I kind of forgot his name right there. Okay, so this is Hagrid. He's just welcoming you to the escape room, and is just telling you that there are 5 escape rooms, and the final one is leading to the headmaster's office. So for the next hour, you're a wizard, and the first clue is right here. You probably want to go shopping. So let me go on to the next page. Okay, so where do you want to go?
All right, let me. I'm going to drop to a screen with slightly smaller. So let me do this. There we go. You can see a bit more of the screen now. All right, so let's. You know what? Let's go to Dervish's and Bang's shop.
All right. Cool. So this is the shop, and you've got Q1, Q2 over here, and the 2 hints over here. So let me hover over Q1 for you. And let me actually read that out. How many students does the house with the second highest number of male students, which is a job, have? So that's your first question.
Yep. How many students does the house with the
And
second highest number of male students have?
so do you want to go to the second question or the first hint?
Let's show the second question as well.
Okay, sure. Second one is, what is the Patronus of the boy with the wing shoes?
Oh yeah. And like if I had more Harry Potter lore knowledge in my head, these would be much easier for me. Let's check
No,
out a
no, no.
hint.
We've kind of made it like super foolproof so that people can't Google for like, Harry Potter stuff and get the answer. So, yeah, so no. But let me just go to the hint. So, this
Okay.
is what asks but never answers. And he's holding a scroll. This little fellow is a hoot. So it's an owl. Which one?
I'm just realizing, yeah, if I actually cut out the video, it will cut out our audio. So,
Okay.
okay, yeah, my
Okay.
bad. I'll have to keep that up in the
All
corner.
right.
I'll figure that out for my next one. Oh yeah, so yeah, let's go back to that and then talk me through the visual that we have in front of us, or that little chart.
Okay, sure. So the hint pointed to the owl. So
Hmm.
the first question is, how many students of the house with the second highest number of BA students, which is a job, have? So you've got filters for job, Patronus, and gender. So we know the job is a student. So I'm going to go ahead
Okay,
and
yep.
search for it. Cool. So I've got student. And it also said male students, right?
Hmm.
So just going to filter out this too. Cool. So the second highest house would be Slytherin.
Yes. And give me one quick second. I'm
Okay.
just gonna check the comment for a couple things. Somebody was just asking, is this Power BI? Like 100%, all of this was built entirely just in Power BI.
Yeah.
But yeah, so based off of kind of clue one, question one led us up to the owl, which is then giving us a visual that we can filter down into, which will then give us the answer to number two.
Okay. So the answer is 10,
Mm-hmm. Yep, that
but
sounds
it's
right to
actually
me.
not. It's a trick question. So the question is, how many students of the house with the second highest number of male students have, right? So this is just going to give you the number of male students, but we need the total number of students.
Oh, that's
So you're
right.
supposed
Okay.
to remove
Yeah.
this filter and then get the count. So it's 12. So I'm just going to go ahead, put in 12 here.
Almost
Cool.
entirely
So
men.
moving on to the next. We had to make it a little tricky, right? I mean, it was a
Yeah.
contest, so we had to. Cool. So the next question: what is the patronus of the boy with the winged shoes? So which boy?
Oh, I see them. He has the fly shoes, quite literally.
Yeah, this is actually a separate image that we put onto this image, so it's gonna pop out a little bit. Okay, so you've got an ID number over here, which
Hmm.
is 88. Now, where do I go? So let me just go to the second hint. So what has leaves that never fall, covered in wood but easily ruined?
What has leaves that never fall, covered in wood, but easily. It's a little bit small for me just in this. 'Cause I have a few other things on, but easily ruined, right?
Covered in wood but
Oh,
easily ruined, yeah.
okay. And that would be something on the page, right?
Yeah, just, I mean, something on the page.
Yeah,
So I'm just gonna
exactly.
go ahead and do this
I
one.
was gonna say the cheap way
And
is you can move your mouse over. It's easily ruined. So like I'm curious if something that's fragile then or breakable.
uh-huh. Okay, all of
Yeah.
these videos are just taken right off Google, so if you just do a
So
Google
I
search, you'll
know.
get it. But it's actually,
Yeah.
it's a book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah, covered in because of paper. That makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
I would fail puzzle
All right.
101. And then the ID was
Okay,
101,
so
I think, wasn't it?
it was 88.
38. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead search, but I think we wanted Patronus. So let me select the column over here,
And that's a
and you've got
4.
the
Okay.
yeah.
I just want to
So
let you know, so
yeah,
so far at the moment we have 39 concurrent viewers, so quite a few people tuning in to watch.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thank you. Cool. So you've got the key now. So which will move on to the next room. So do you want to quickly switch to the Power BI version so that I can explain at least the first few bits?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I don't want to make it like entirely fun and then, boring right after. So well, let's do it. Okay, so all of this was just created using bookmarks. So just a bookmark that pops up. I mean, all of us know that Power BI doesn't support animations like PPT does, so I couldn't make it, go around or something like that. So this was the most we could do, just popping out the blue using a bookmark. So this is the first one. And yeah, and this actually is an image with just one door, and I kind of, did a little bit of editing and made it three doors. And it kind of looks like one entire picture, so I was pretty proud of that. Cool. So let me move on to the shop. All right. So, do you want to start with something first, or should I just go ahead and explain everything?
I think whatever you find most interesting. Some of the stuff that I certainly know that I was curious about was like the tooltips. Because I'm going to guess that
Right.
those are report page tooltips to get the unique fonts. Because the standard ones I know will not
Yes.
be able to do the custom lettering.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to use, a normal button and just a tooltip that comes on top of it. I wanted it to be Harry Potter font. So we've also used a theme file for this, and I just took it from Cube and I've just changed. I mean, I didn't even change the name of the file. I've just changed the font. So all you had to do is just install the font, change the font over here, and just, import it as a theme over here. So I think that was your last live stream also, right?
I
About
was
themes.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say, like, I think Mike Carlo last time we talked a bit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which and what she's showing is that you can technically use any font uh,
Yep.
type that's installed on your computer in Power BI if it's in the custom JSON file. The one downside is, whatever computer that you're on, it has to have that library loaded. So there's a risk of it
Exactly.
not rendering, and I think it
Yeah,
defaults
that's
to
it.
Arial. But otherwise, it's doable just as long as you build a custom theme file.
Yeah, exactly. I think there are a lot of organizations which follow like a specific font, right? So I think a lot of our clients actually ask for, their specific font. So when we have that in our dashboards, all of them have them in their systems. So it wasn't a problem for, fonts which are used by the entire org. So that's one use that we definitely used in for theme files. So let me just show you how to create the tooltips. So that was one thing. I don't want to use a button to make it look like that. So this is a custom tooltip, but custom tooltips are only going to come when you have a chart, right? So which is why I just created. I mean, the smallest chart that you get is a scatter plot. So I just took that and just added anything actually. So this gives you round thing. Let me just quickly add the background also so that you can see.
I will say there's one other type of visual that's not a chart that can be used with a tooltip, which is a single value card.
Ah, okay. Okay. So, okay, that's something that I think I learned a lot from you today. and but this is what we did. So we kind of took a shape, increased the size, and then also removed the fill point. So that you get this. And we've just added a shape on top of it, which is a circle and a text box. So that when you hover over this and you have your tooltip as your report page. So if you just select Q1, I'm going to get, Q1 for the entire thing.
Mhm. Perfect.
So this is what we've done for all of this. And for the hints, I mean, I've just gone ahead, just created a table with all of my hints and, just filtered it out wherever I want because this doesn't have like a color or anything. So I've just used that everywhere. So this is how we got this because we didn't want the questions to take up a lot of space in my page because I mean I wanted it to be kind of like a scavenger hunt, right? So you look for things and then you open charts and then you see it. So I don't want the questions to take up like a lot of space here. So this was like the perfect way to put in the questions.
I
And
agree.
yeah, so yeah, so that's one thing. And let me just quickly tell you how to. So this is using a what if parameter. So it's just a series which is generated from 0 to 30 with increments of 1. And it just gives you, what the user inputs in your box. You get a nice little slider with it, but I don't want to use it because I wanted it to be an input box. So yeah, so this is what we used. And you also have a slicer. So depending on what the user selects, I just have a measure which basically checks if the user has inputted the right answer,
And
right?
if you
So if the
want,
value is 12,
hold control and then like use your scroll wheel just to that will make the fonts bigger in the formula bar, so it zooms in a little bit. So,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
it, so in Power BI, if you click in the formula bar, hold the Control key
Uh-huh.
and scroll forward on your scroll wheel on your mouse. There you
Ah,
go.
okay.
Yeah, it just makes it a little bit bigger to
Okay,
read.
all right. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this measure has just been created to check if the user has inputted the right values, right? So if it's 12 and if it's 4, which is the right answer, I'm just changing the color to a 100% transparency level. I think, let me just quickly show you that also. Okay, it's over here. Okay, so this is something that I learned when I created this escape room. So if you add an FF before your 6-digit hex code, it's actually the transparency level.
And
So that was something that I learned. Yeah,
there's a really good
sorry.
spot to mention, I would say right here too, is the only way to actually create a transparent color in Power BI is with a measure. You can have the extra characters inside of a measure that passes it
Right.
through, but if you try to paste an alpha transparency
Mm-hmm.
color into the color picker in Power BI, it won't
Mm-hmm.
let you put that many characters in. So like I actually didn't know that it
Ah,
was possible
mhm.
until I saw a blog about it because I would assume
Okay.
if the color isn't compatible in the color picker, it wouldn't be compatible passing through from DAX. But just for the people listening out
Right.
there, like
Okay.
this 8 character color string can be used by Power BI, but only if you have a measure that's basically supplying it in some kind of
Mm.
measure-based conditional formatting.
Yeah, let me actually quickly show that also so that, yeah, so I've just put it over here as a function.
Hmm.
So yeah, based on a field. So that's how
Exactly.
it gets it. And the same way, I also have the navigation tool. So I mean, when you hover over here, you still get an option to click to go to hallway, even if you haven't written the right answer. But if you click it, it's not going to go. So that is again done by this measure. So if you select the right answer, then it goes to the next room, or else it just stays in the same room. Right. So I've added it over here to prevent people from moving on to the next room without entering the right answer.
And like
So yeah, that
exactly,
is.
sometimes you have to build those guidelines to
Yeah,
enforce that they don't click the wrong thing or accidentally cause the wrong pop-up to show up. You
yeah,
want to also just
exactly.
just to see what like the elements are on the page. Can you open the selection pane just to like show the number of pieces that are like on this page as an
Oh yeah,
example?
sure.
There you go.
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I
and you
have all
use
of them together.
and you're doing a smart practice too, which is grouping. Like it really helps organize a lot. Also, I don't know if you use the
Yes.
uh, I'm completely spacing on it, but it's that toggle that allows you to enforce what order the selection is. They just added that back in
Oh, okay.
July
Okay.
in the general settings. It
Oh,
makes sure that if objects are layered, one will not pop in front of the other one, which is really important within groups as well.
mm. Yeah, I mean, we just drag it like this and shift it to. So that's what's there. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, the selection pane, organizing it has been so important because if there's like a
Hmm.
small change and you've built like, a lot of charts, it's super easy to just go to the selection pane and pick out the chart that you want and,
Exactly.
make changes. Otherwise, it's just really, really hard. It looks pretty small over here, but, the actual dashboards that all of us create have like, I mean, things still here, right? So yeah, that's one thing. And another thing that I wanted to show is this one, right?
Oh yes.
So so these are actually three different columns that are there in the data set. So I've used a switch case actually in this case. So column selected. So depending on, so the slicer, I've just created like a smaller table with all of the options. I'll just show you that in a bit. But yeah, so based on what you select, it just picks out the first non-blank, value from your table.
Yep.
And now, since this is a table and ID is like, the level of information that we needed at, it's going to be perfect. It's going to work fine for this, right? So this is how I created this. But I just wanted to show another really useful example where I have used this column thing. So assume you have a chart, right? And you want to compare, say, the sales value with any other metric, probably, the unemployment rate or just anything, right? And sometimes the effect of the metric is gonna be seen at, a lead or lag of a few months, right? So which is where you can just create like three columns, which, does a lead or lag of minus or plus or 1 month. So when you shift, it's just gonna do this, right? So you can just compare all of this, do this with the same way that I created the switch case. So this was an actual example that I used in one of my dashboards. So I wanted to bring it out in the escape room too. So which is why
Awesome.
we created this. Yeah. So this is what we have in the first page. I think that's about it. Anything else do you want to talk about?
Um, I think that covered most of the stuff that's on this first page here.
Yeah, I think questions and hints and answers are common for like all pages. So I think we're done with everything from those. So okay, cool. Let's move on to the second room.
And
All
and then
right.
we go
So
back to
where do
the,
you want me to go now?
just go back to the smaller. Wait, 1 second. There we go. Yes, we've done the Dervish and Bang Shop. Let's, I'll pause and, I'll just pretend that I'm going to snack at some of that delicious turkey that's on the table, and then we can go to the classroom. I
Yeah.
was always envious
Oh,
of
the
the spread.
classroom.
Let's go to the classroom.
Okay.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I've angered my teacher. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not
So
allowed to go in there
that's a
yet.
hint over here. Yeah. So maybe just have a look at this hint. The Egyptians used papers to make me. At Hogwarts, I'm a rolled up parchment. Find me. So anything that you want me to click on?
Um, oh wait, well there's a little parchment on the floor.
Yes.
There you go. Okay. You know what? I
All
think
right.
he's
So
been making illegal moonshine. That's what he's been brewing. Let's go to Snape's potion cabinet.
cool. So you're gonna do a little bit of math over here. So I mean, we are the math company, so there are a bunch of math questions that I've put in, to make the contest a little harder. So if you want to solve it, go ahead. Or I know the answer, so I can just put it in. Or if anyone who's tuning in knows the answer, they can probably put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at it for because I'm moderating both. But yeah,
Okay.
let me think about it for about 30 seconds or so, and if see if
Okay, sure.
give about a minute just to see if anybody can answer it from the chat. Otherwise, we'll just throw the answer number in there. How many words can be formed
Sure.
by?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a Scrabble question almost.
Yeah, but the words doesn't have to make sense. So it's
Ah.
like a permutation
Oh,
question.
okay.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to
Mm.
be machine learning algorithms that can do this for you too. You just throw the word at it, and it gives you the answer. That's really funny. You know, I'm just gonna guess for this one because I feel like this one actually would require you probably to get some pen and paper and then write down the. Yeah, I would honestly just
Yep.
rearrange it
Yeah.
myself in a notebook. Yeah, for the fun of that. But uh, I'm gonna
Okay. So while you
guess.
give me a number, I'll tell
Yeah,
you if we're
yeah.
like close.
I will say 13.
Ah, no. Okay. So this one starts from 30,000. I told you the words don't have to make
Oh
sense, right?
wow.
So it can be
Okay.
any
There's a lot. Okay,
combination
there's
of
a
it. Yeah.
lot. There's a lot more than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pure math problem.
40,
There's no. Uh,
42,000 500.
okay. I think it's around 30,000, and just the hundredth digit will change a little bit. So,
One person guessed six times 5,040 or 50,000
and what is
40.
that? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so
well,
let me just answer that. So it's
30,000. Oh yeah, yeah.
30240.
Yep. So we actually had
Right.
one person who got that right.
Ah, okay. That must be the person who solved the escape room from
Uh,
my company, probably. So yeah, so it's 30240. It's just a permutation problem, and I can tell you how to solve it maybe later. Or yeah, but let me just go ahead and open the cabinet. So yeah, this is your question. What is the color characteristics of the potion that we need to refill in the bottom seven potions ordered according to price? So you
there's
see
a
the
okay.
price over here.
Gotcha. Yeah. Does it if you click that does okay, you can sort. So see the top seven. Okay. Let's click that.
Okay, so you want to go to top seven. All right.
So yeah, this is the one that I'll be really curious about because it's like, okay, I forgot about this one. It's super cool that you have basically the shelf potions themselves change with the sorting. That was a very ingenious thing. But we care about the bottom seven, and the color characteristic of
Right.
those would be
Okay, so which one needs a refill immediately? Just by looking at
yeah,
the chart.
okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'd say the one in the middle shelf on the right is the lowest volume.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that
So
that would
this
be
one is a
red.
volume of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the characteristic is lime,
Oh,
if you
gotcha.
can see
Okay.
the tooltip. Yeah, so okay, let me go ahead, pick out lime for you. Oh, so next one. How much volume of the most expensive potion is left in stock?
All right, so let's click that sort bin again. There we
Mhm.
go. And the most and it is sorted by price, so that would be the upper left, I'm assuming. And then the
Um,
volume would be
yeah,
86.
not that easy.
Nope.
Okay, so you see the price is 94. I mean, it's not sorted like one, two, three,
Oh, okay,
4, 5.
gotcha. So you
Just
just
the top
gotta
7, but
hover over them.
yeah.
Okay.
So we have to make it. Yeah. So this one's 94, this one's 99, and 93, 92, 91, and 95. So this one
Yep.
is your highest, most expensive portion, and the volume is 11. So I'm gonna put that. There you go. You have the key.
Yeah. I like the anime version of Snape too.
That was the only good picture that I could find. I mean, the other one I used in the get out room. So this was the other one, which was, fun. So let me just go on to the room. Yeah. So this is just a bookmark that toggles between the two things. And I actually watched a video where, you showed how to create the buttons using just Unicare characters. So that's
Oh
exactly
yeah.
what I've done. Yeah, so I actually just changed it right after I watched your video. So thanks for that.
I was gonna say it's
And
nice to see
yeah,
like, oh, there's a couple of videos that were useful to help make this. It's great.
yeah. And this was created using Infographic Designer, which is my favorite visual in Power BI. I just make
Hmm.
sure I use it in every single dashboard, and like legit, everyone hates me in my office because of this. So yeah, so that's how it is. I just make sure I use it. So this one I just had to, and I had to get in the shelf, make it look like the portions were inside, and put on
Yep.
a transparency background at the back, and just everything, the whole deal. So let me just quickly show you the infographic designer too. So yeah, I've used a lot of images, I think 3, 4 images that I've put across different portions. And I've also have like a fill percentage. I didn't want to go for multiple units. I mean, this doesn't make sense in our scenario right now, right? But this is actually something that I really like, multiple units. It just looks really neat, a waffle chart, right? So I've used that also a lot of times, but in this case, the single one makes a lot of
Where did
sense.
you get the
And even
images
the color.
themselves?
Just flaticon.com, all of these websites. So just got the images from there.
Flat icon's actually the thing that I get like 90% of my icons from because they're very
I
consistent
know.
and very minimal.
Yeah, and you can change colors also, right? And that was brilliant. So you can change whichever color you want and download the icon, which I didn't find in any other website. So yeah,
Uh,
that's the one I've been
could
using.
you
I've actually attributed it
we,
to you.
so we have a question. Could you go back and show the visualizations pane for a moment on that visual? I think they just wanted to see like what options there are for one of those.
Okay.
Well, like I'm assuming they were probably wanting to see the wells. So if you on the visualizations pane, if you the visualization wells. So you're on the format
The
tab.
push the
You're on the format tab.
uh
Go over to the so visualizations pane over on the right side of your screen,
You
and
mean
then
this one?
yes, and then on there you're on the format tab. Go to the other one next to it, right
Hmm.
there. There you go.
Oh, you mean this? Oh, okay, the
Yeah,
fields.
I think they just might have wanted to see like what options are to drag into it. It's pretty much like a lot of other visuals where you have categorical and measure, and then the that visual is similar to like ArcGIS or other ones where most of the settings for the
Mhm.
visual itself are located inside of the visual. So the company puts it in there
Right.
because you have
Yeah.
complete freedom over formatting versus having to
True.
adhere to how, Power BI limits you to lists and everything on that side.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was called it's the infographic visual, right? I'm just gonna paste a link for somebody who was
Yes.
asking about that.
It's an infographic designer.
Okay, perfect. I'll post a link for them.
Okay. Cool. So I think yeah, that's it about this page.
Yeah, I really like that one. And like you said, the infographic designer I think is really useful for a lot of that stuff. So it allows,
Yeah.
certainly for use cases like this, and I think for any kind of report that is sold at the higher levels, like executives, or if it's going on like a
Mhm.
TV screen in a lobby or something, those having the charts that show, oh yeah, for census where we're counting people, you actually have little icons of people that get filled up, and it adds a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
you know creativity to report pages. I will just mention
Exactly.
one. Go ahead.
I think, I mean, if you're lucky enough, you might get like a beverage company, so you can put like, their own bottles with, their own small logo
Yeah,
and just fill it up. It'll be golden. Yeah.
I
So,
will. I will say just for people listening too is I love custom visuals and there's certainly use cases for them. The one caveat with them is they're a lot better today for performance than what they used to be, but they will still and forever always run just a little bit slower than a native visual because for security reasons, since they're built by other developers, Microsoft requires them to load
right.
their own libraries by themselves. Native visuals can share resources, so common libraries for the title, for background, for the shapes of the columns can be shared across native visuals, but custom visuals are kind of blocked into their own to have to load everything. So there's no accidental data leakage or anything between others. So it might only,
Yeah.
let's say, load like 90% as fast. It's not very noticeable, but it's more of a caution of don't go and put 35 custom visuals on a report page. You're going to probably be waiting a long time for that page to load if you have nothing but custom visuals. So use them when needed, but also just sparingly.
Yeah. I think, I mean, when you use it like really less, it also stands out in a page, right? I mean, it just
Exactly.
pops out. So,
Yep.
yeah, that is, yeah. Cool. So let me move on to the custom tooltip then. I think we've seen a lot of these already, but this one's actually something that gives you a little bit of information about, what you want to see. So I've just shown like the portion ID and the difficulty level and, the effect, the characteristics. And I just have a chart to show, how much volume it is. So based on whichever portion that you hover over, you're going to get the information for that. So I think this was extremely useful in some of the charts that we're creating where, people wanted more information, but they don't want to go to like the next page or something. So this is brilliant. So this is like a lot of cases where, we've used custom tooltips for this.
Yep.
So
And
yeah,
yeah, they were one of my favorite features to come out for Power BI when they first were unveiled. You have I mean, it's
yeah,
just a report page, so you have complete freedom to put whatever you want. I've used them as you have literally just for a text box that can be formatted because native tooltips can't
mm,
do that. Or you actually put like visuals and the one downside for people who maybe aren't super familiar with them is there's no way to go into it. Like you can't put a slicer in a tooltip and then use the slicer.
yeah,
It
yeah.
follows the mouse around and
It's
it's
gonna
not
go.
designed to be interacted with.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one thing that we should be aware of if you have, horizontal scroll bars and stuff, so that can't be done. But
Exactly.
yeah, so this is this page. So let's move on to the next page then. Cool. So where do you want to go now?
We've gotten the shop, the potion cabinet. Let's go to the classroom.
Yep. It is not
There
going to
we
take you
go.
out this time.
And I will say that
Yeah.
each time we go back to that page that we were, it's actually a different version of that. Is it a different version of that page, or are you swapping between elements on the page with bookmarks to allow you to enter the classroom? Because like something on that page changes between us getting keys, right?
Yeah, actually, we could have created it using bookmarks, but I did it at like the last minute, so
Hmm.
I just kept getting confused with which one is which. So I just created different pages, and I just
Okay.
made 3 pages so that
Yep.
you just.
Yeah.
And I also
That's
have like a parchment lying around, right? So I mean, it just got really confusing because it's the same thing, but different actions. So I just created different pages.
no.
But yeah, you can
I
create it using bookmarks too. Yeah.
I totally get the pain of like bookmarks can get very confusing sometimes. And
you know.
the issue I think with a lot of Power BI development is many of the features that are built are designed to help A, enterprise customers usually first, B, just report consumers, like features that will benefit report consumers, but features that make it easier to
Right.
develop usually are like third in the list. So bookmarks technically aren't broken. They can do everything they need to, but
Right.
developing bookmarks, there's
Mm,
there's no way to like one at a time say, all right, for this visual, I want to filter by the like you can't just use a menu list to kind of configure a bookmark. You have to, capture like a
yes.
and that can be a little painful sometimes to update or create new ones, or also in 6 months, like, wait, what was this bookmark doing? There's no list that tells you what's in the caption
Exactly.
state. So I, I pray that someday like that might get updated, but it's again because it's not technically broken. I don't know how if or when that will ever actually get better for the development process.
Yep. Yeah. I
Right.
think another thing that I've always wanted is when I add a slicer, it just automatically slices everything on my page. I just wish it's like by default nothing, so that I can activate, whichever one I want. I just feel like, that would be a lot easier than, I mean, in the case of bookmarks too, right? If you have a slicer in one bookmark and another one in another bookmark, and they just keep interacting with each other, which you don't want, right? So those kind of things is it's also a little tricky when you're creating bookmarks.
I
So
agree.
yeah.
I think if there was a report setting for that, I will say that it's usually in a most of the time you want things to to talk to each other, and at least I find the exception is occasionally you want to turn those off. I don't know if that should be the
Okay.
default for all reports, but if that is your preference as a developer,
Maybe an
then
option.
allow you to go in just to the report setting and say default action is
Yeah,
is nothing or something like that. I agree.
yeah.
Um,
Something.
Also, just the my one gripe of not talking about this is I would love to be able to click a visual and have a button that says turn off all interactions. You have to go through and uncheck every other visual. And if you have 20 objects in your page, that's 20 clicks that you have to do. Why isn't there just a disable
Yeah,
all? There needs to be a single
that's
disable all button
hard.
for that.
Yeah, that was actually what I was trying to get at. I mean,
Oh,
be it a
yeah.
slicer or even like thing, right? But I don't want to click and interact with everything
Yeah.
else. But yeah,
All
a
right.
lot
So
of it.
we
Cool.
have questions
So,
5 and 6.
yeah. Yep. So question 5 is how many spells emit a blue light in Jinx category?
Okay. So there's going to be a chart
Okay.
somewhere. So I think that's probably the second one we have to answer because we need to find a chart first.
Okay.
Which types?
Which type of spells with complexity 5 take the longest time to learn on an average?
All right, so both of these are going to require data, so we're going to need to find some data on the page. Here we go.
Cool. So then the first hint, Harry Potter is saying, has anyone seen my notebook? I bet it has answers, or maybe ask the smartest person in the room. So we have to find notebooks now, which is here.
Oh, yep, there we go.
Cool. So this is a
Spell.
donut chart, which is showing.
How many
So
spells
you
emit?
need how many spells of blue light and Jinx category. So this is Jinx, and I'm just going to click on it. So you can click here to see
Mm-hmm.
more details of Jigs. So let me go there, and there's just a tree map. It shows you. So blue is 5. Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, let me just get back. Put in 5. All right. Next question. Okay, we read the question. Let me go to the second hint then.
Cranium, what a brain picker. All right, so I mean that makes me think of Hermione because she's the brainiest one, but I'm assuming there's a literal brain in the room. You got to click.
Yes, yeah. Do you see this? I
Okay,
mean, it
there it
kind of
is.
looks like that was the closest, thing that we could, yeah. So yeah, so that's your chart. So we kind of wanted to, okay, so most of the questions that you see will probably be a little too basic because this entire dashboard was catering to people who have never used Power BI or, the ones who used it like a few times. So I mean, the entire audience was this, right? So most of the functions or the functionalities that you see will be, pretty basic for people like you, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you get the idea of it, right? So all of this was to demonstrate, people, why don't you try highlighting a visual? or like filtering a visual. So the second question is basically which type of cells with complexity 5 takes the longest time to learn on average. So when you have highlight visuals, so I'm just going to filter out for complexity 5, right? So when you do highlight, it's just going to do this, which I don't want to see, right? Which is when you move on to filter visual. So when you do this, it's going to filter for complexity 5, and this line chart is going to give you the average weeks required to
Yep.
learn. So the highest is over here, so which is transfiguration. I have no idea what that means, but yeah, it's transfiguration. So this was the kind of things that we wanted to show people, and this is what I meant by experiencing these visuals first before building them. So yeah,
Yep.
that's just
And then that's one of the number one things that I recommend is it's honestly like it's the most boring part kind of building a report is publishing it, literally clicking everything and seeing how it interacts with everything else. Like and a lot of it is like you just said, making sure that the right filters. If I click here, that just makes this other chart look completely broken, and it's probably going to confuse people. So cross filtering
yeah.
just a poor choice, but like just standard filtered process like you showed, it seems a lot more practical. So you would adjust that. Sometimes it's like focus
Yeah,
modes or other things in the visual header. Do any of these things and like
yeah,
does this add any value? If the button doesn't do anything, then you probably should just disable it. So that's one less thing for somebody to click. So you want like the
sure.
as few options for report designers. So I think it's a very good thing to encourage people to do is is spend the kind of the boring process of going through as a user, just literally poking
Mhm.
around like a kid with a stick and just seeing what happens with everything and does everything that you're doing, does it make sense? Does it add value?
Yeah, exactly. And there's actually a little thing. So when you saw the first hint, or maybe asked smartest person in the room, right? So as you said, the smartest person is Hermione. So I have a Q&A over here. So you can basically just enter your question in here and get the answer. So let me actually type that out. Number of spells with blue light in Jinx. And that's it. That's your answer. 5.
There we
And
go.
let me put in the second question too. I think the second question, I mean, when the first time I tried it, I didn't get it because I'll tell you. So, okay, so which type? Mm, okay, I
And
think
it's
we
kind
have to
of
put the highest
it's
and
what
not the
I
longest.
it's what I love and hate about Q and A is it's a great feature, but it gets a little precise sometimes. Like you have to look for
Okay.
a measure. If you have a long measure name, it unless you type in the
Mhm.
exact name, it never finds it in the model. So it's still a work in
Yeah.
progress, I think a bit, but it is still a fun feature.
Yeah, I think there's an option where you enter in questions and then Q&A learns from it too, right? So I think it's still
Yeah,
learning from all the questions
you
that
can
we
give it
have. So
suggested questions. Yep.
yeah, so there you go. You have the answer for the second one too. So yeah, you could have just done this instead of going through all of the charts. But yeah, we just did both. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
it. Let's move on to the next room. Let me quickly show you anything. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing new over here, just a drill through. I think which was extremely useful in a lot of reports that I created because I mean the first view is just a summary view, right? And then I want to see like details of that particular thing, but in like say I have a manufacturer or a brand, right? And I want to see details of that particular brand. So you just go to a drill through page and see details of like everything that you want to see over here. So this was again a brilliant feature that I really like in Power BI. But I mean, in the escape room, it kind of looks, a little too small because, there's not much to show. But yeah, it was extremely useful. So this is one. And yeah, I think the highlight and this thing I've already explained. And Q&A, I've just put in, I love how you can add suggested questions to it too and, kind of prompt the user to ask a few things. And I also love that I think in iOS, you can just input your questions through speech also. So that is good. I mean, I would love it if it comes to, Android also said all of us can just ask questions through speech. So that'd be brilliant. So yeah,
I
these
know
are two
there's ways
things that,
I know there's ways to tie it into to Cortana on Windows 10 where you can
yeah.
pop up your
Uh-huh.
Windows key, type in a question, and if you like synced reports to your account
Right.
on your your Windows login, it'll automatically like pop up the report that has that, and it'll show you the visual from
Mhm.
there. So there's some interesting
Yeah.
considerations. I will say that I love the feature of Q&A. I don't deploy it nearly as much as I like to demo it. I usually think that at the end of the day, a well-built report will answer 99% of the questions that it needs to anyways. And occasionally the
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
start to ask questions are usually the ones who are like, you know what, can you give me an Excel file that's connected to it and just let me go do my own thing in a pivot table?
Mhm.
I don't find too many execs who are the ones who
Right.
aren't tech savvy who want to ask questions. They're normally just like, well, here's my questions. Build the report to answer these for me without me having to type them in and all that stuff.
Hmm. Okay, got it. All right. Cool. Now there's another math problem for you to solve.
Oh no. Let's
Um,
see if somebody. I'm going to lean on the people in the in the chat and see if anybody can answer that. Let's
sure.
see. Ron reached
It's,
Quidditch Pitch, which is 715 miles away, 2 hours late. Yeah. Well, this is one of those like a train traveling from New York at 25
yep.
miles an hour is and then a train traveling from Chicago at 35. Uh, like what city do they meet in
Oh, it's not a meeting question. It's like, at what speed should you walk, to go to the
to reach
Quidditch pitch
Quidditch on
on
time?
time?
Let's see if
Yeah.
anybody in the chat thread can answer this. We have a few people in there, so I'll give it like a couple of seconds. But yeah, overall, like
Sure.
I love the number of unique things that you built into here. I also think that I like that there's a few sections where it's like I'm going to show you here's the difference between two types of Power BI features and why it's important. So there's a bit of like a teaching as well in this in a couple of those. So I think it's doing multiple things, all like for the benefit of
Yeah,
the
actually, so we were supposed to take a session. So it was supposed to be a session for our entire org about Power BI. So we kind of created this escape room as like, a pre-read of sorts. So people will have to go through the escape room, solve it and, participate in the contest and all of that. So in the session, we kind of explained how we created the escape room and, what are the different features we used and how to create them and all of that. So it kind of, that is what I meant by, them trying it out first. So in the session, we actually taught them how to build, the highlight visual, all of the visuals actually, even the infographic designer. We went step by step and explained how to create all of them. So that was actually what the session was about. So yeah,
awesome.
so most of it is themed around yeah, same thing. Cool. Do we have any answers or anything close?
Nobody threw an answer out yet, so let's just pop in one.
Cool. So at 65, it's
There's the
actually a
key.
quadratic equation that you solve, and I think you get x as 55. And so this question, so I mean, people just kept entering 55 and checking for the answer, but the question is at what speed should you walk? So which means you're supposed to walk 10 miles per hour more. So that's 55 plus 10, 65. So, a little bit of trick question there too.
Makes sense.
Okay, so let me move on. So, I mean, this we kind of wanted to also show that you can add GIFs to Power BI pages as backgrounds. So, which is what we were trying to show people through this page. So, let me move on to the Quidditch page. Cool. So, yeah, so this is the annual Quidditch game. Welcome. We've got the two teams going against each other. And I've got a play axis over here, which is going to show you what happened to the game. So, let me just hit play. All right. So your question is, who are the chasers who scored in this game? Okay. So let me just play that again so you can make note of the names.
And the names
Yeah?
are yeah. So the names are popping up in the section below that, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So do you remember them?
I was actually watching the field, not not the list below it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the answer is Blake and Demelza. So
Okay.
that is the answer for this. Let me just quickly switch to how I created this.
This one's one of my
Um,
favorites, just because of the use of the play bar custom visual that goes through that, and yeah, there's some really clever things in this.
yeah. And this was also created using Infographic Designer, by the way, because I wanted to add images to the field. So that's how I. Let me just show you. Selection pane.
Let me go to the smaller one.
Oh, this one's also a GIF that I put in on. Yeah, cool. Let me just go there. Cool. So this is actually the amount of images that I put in, and the play axis is basically filtering out, the different states. So same thing. I've just added an image instead of a shape, which was, the case in the other one, the potion one,
Yep.
right? So here is just an image, and you've just binded, the different images to the different layers, and that's it. You just have to play your axis, and it's gonna come up. So I've just put in a condition, which says if it goes beyond this point, that means, a person scored. So something like that. So that's what I've done. And I've just put in a KPI card to show you which person went above 40 or less than 10, because the axis is 0 to 50. So yeah, that's about it. So this is just something that pops up. Cool. Anything else you want to see here?
I don't think so on this one. I think there's a lot of artistic creativity that I'm just very appreciative of, using like visuals in very clever ways. Like what would the number of hours, if you actually were to say that you put into this,
Okay. So the
ballpark?
entire escape room was built in around 3 working days. So that was how much time that we spent on the entire thing. And this I actually built after that. So I think I'm pretty sure you would have seen this post on LinkedIn, but someone posted a scatter plot where she had used a football field and basically the play axis. And when you click on the scatter plot images, it just goes to the player name. I'm not sure if you saw it. I can forward it to you later or something. So that's where I got the idea from there. But I wanted to use images. She just used a scatter point. So the
Yep.
only way to use images was through Infographic Designer, right? So that is what I did. And this was the result. So yeah.
That's the infographic designers. That's not the SQL BI one. They also no, because they do
Oh,
a custom map visual where you can upload a custom image, and then you can basically create sections that reflect like certain categories of data.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Nice.
I've seen people use that to create like football fields and like be able to have
Mhm.
visuals like move across. But I don't think you can't have for the values, you can't have images pop up. So I think, yeah, like you mentioned,
Right.
yours is probably the only one that would have allowed that.
Mhm. Yeah. Cool. So let me go back. Now I think we're at the last room. Okay, so let me read out the seventh question for you. What is the average price of the potion with the highest volume used by Gryffindor?
Average price of the potion, the highest volume used by Gryffindor. Okay, so the highest volume potion by Gryffindor. So got to, oh, and then if you want to read that because it's partially blocked by the uh,
Okay, so this hint basically says follow the lights to finish your quest. So we've got a light over here, but there's nothing over here. Let me show you the light over here.
okay,
There is something here. Okay, so this is a chiclet slicer where we've used different images. So,
Gryffindor.
do you know which symbol Gryffindor is? This one.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it's the lion.
Yeah. So yeah, this one's Gryffindor. I learned that while creating this dashboard. So yeah, so this Gryffindor. So let's look at the other light, which is over here. Okay, so here I wanted to show the use of personalized visualizations. So I've activated that over here. So I wanted users to build their own chart to solve this question, right? So the question was, actually, let me just show you the question again. So what is the average price of the potion with the highest volume used by Gryffindor, which means we've already selected Gryffindor, so it's filtered. But you also have to find out the potion with the highest volume, right?
Mhm.
And you need the average price of that. So let's change it to maybe a combo chart where we can show the volume in the column and maybe the price in the line.
Mhm.
So let me do that. And yeah, share axis is characteristics, column values. We wanted volume. So I'm going to switch to that. And line values, we need price. But we
What
need an
is,
average of price.
yes, exactly.
So average. All right. So this is your, okay, sorry. So I keep forgetting that I have to close that to see the tooltip.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, the average is 55.33. All right. So let me go ahead, put that in. I think I've given a whole number. So yeah, that's your final question. That's it. Congratulations.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's actually, that ended exactly on the hour. That's actually really impressive. Most of these go like 10 or 15 minutes past, but this is actually a perfect time to finish through that. That's great.
Right. Yeah, and yeah, just I think the only thing that was different over here is just the chiclet slicer,
Hmm.
where you can put in images and just I've converted it to base64, so I have a table with the name of I mean whichever house it belongs to and the base64 value of the image. So you can just get that over here, and I think yeah, personalized visuals is, I mean, I've used, so we don't want the user to see all of your data, right? So I've just used the external tools Tableau editor to create a new perspective over here. So let me just quickly show you that. So I've got the headmaster room over here. So all I have to do is go to the table and I wanted portions. So I just have to right click, show in perspectives and whichever one that we want. So it's already in headmaster room, so it's not letting us put it there.
And
But yeah, that's how.
perspectives are 100% recommended if you're ever doing anything with well, Q&A is really useful for those. Also with as you just said, customized visuals because you don't want to give people the entire kitchen. You, there's going to be a lot of columns and other stuff in there that's going to be confusing unless they're hidden or other things. So perspectives, as you've shown,
Yeah.
really helps to give you a small list that's only useful for specifically that.
Yeah. And I think I've put in the entire table to make it a little difficult for people to find out what to put there. But so this escape room is basically the opposite of what we do in a dashboard. I'm just making things difficult for you to find, which is not what we're supposed to do, right? So this one's the opposite application of dashboards. So yeah, that's about it. This last room, and yeah, that's it.
And remind me, is there anywhere for people to download this at all, or is this something that you keep?
I actually did share it with Power BI Tips, so I think he has it on his blog too.
Okay, and I
So
can
they
link to
can,
that.
yeah, download it. Yeah,
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 I'll put
that's
that for
there.
people in
But
the
I think I
chat.
made a few changes after that, so I could probably just upload it somewhere else too, so that people can download it. But yeah,
Yeah, I can put the
that's
link in there
there.
for now, and then I also uh, have a download section if you want to provide to me, or if you just, like I said, give me the link later wherever you want to put it, and I can put it in the description. So whatever works for you.
Sure, yeah, yeah. Or I can even just comment on the video if anything works. Yeah,
Oh
that
yeah,
also
yes,
looks fine.
exactly.
Yeah,
There's the current link
cool.
for
I
people in the
think.
chat.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Switch over to that. There you
All right.
go.
So how is it?
Oh, I mean,
I think you should
yeah.
really.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, this was a brilliant way for people in my art to experience Power BI for the first time, and they were a little hyped up about Power BI. I told you the sentiment was a little bit negative, right? So that kind of got fixed after this Power BI thing. So I mean, if someone's taking up Power BI coaching or something, just imagine the first day you just go in and try an escape room, just solve it, and then
Exactly.
you kind of learn everything else. That'd be good.
Yeah, and I so far of like the things that have come out, I'd still put this in probably like the top five, like most most creative uses of it. The only things that I would put at the very pinnacle of it is like the DAX puzzles that Phil Seymour has made, where
Oh
he
yeah,
created like the 3D maze with SVGs and some of the stuff that he does requires a lot of like advanced math to be able to like
yeah,
you're basically coding a game inside of DAX. But it's just one of
yeah.
those like it's completely impractical, but just all right. I had no idea you could do this with a like a matrix table and cells and all this other stuff. But that's one of those. Those are probably the only thing I can immediately think of that was even more insanely creative than this one.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that good at tax at all. I'm still
But
learning
neither am I.
tax. It's
Yeah.
just yeah, so I didn't play with anything. I mean, if you see the dashboard, there was no relationship, there were no, just very, very simple measures, nothing much. So yeah, that's what we have in this escape room. Maybe the next one we could probably put in a lot of tax questions too.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely it deserves a little bit of some confetti praise for that. It's it's just really cool, and I'm hoping you'll build more of these things because I'm sure for myself and a lot of other people, like that was a lot of fun, and if there's a chance to do something else like that, another some kind of puzzle solving adventure, at this point you could almost
Yeah.
like you could even market them and possibly like, sell them for like $5 and just have them as like because you can buy escape room games to play at home. Now this could be like a one to play on your PC.
Yeah, the USP for this one was basically an escape room in Power BI, right? I mean, if you look at
Yeah,
escape rooms out there, it's crazy. I mean, you've got like video going in and all of that. So this USP was just Power BI and
yeah.
escape room. And I think everyone I reached out to actually replied to my message on LinkedIn, which was cool. I mean, I was just shamelessly texting every single person who had Power BI. So yeah, I mean, a lot of them replied to that. The response was actually pretty good. And
Yeah.
yeah, probably,
Yeah, like I
yeah.
said, it's I'm sure like I wasn't the only one where it's normally most of the stuff that you get messaged about it's like it's whatever, but it was one of those things that stood out like oh this is actually a really cool thing that somebody built.
Yeah.
All right, well is there anything else before I kind of go through my standard wrap up process?
No, that's it. I think I'm done.
So then, I just really want to thank you for coming in and showing this. It's again ever since November, it's one of those things that I really loved, and then I realized like I think actually as a live stream this would be a perfect opportunity for that. So thank you for joining today. For everybody
Ah,
who's tuning in, I will also just mention to you it's if you have an option, click that like, subscribe, or share button down below. It really does help this channel grow and continue to push these things out um, and helps me to make more live streams. So 100%. You know, please share this with your friends. And this will also be recorded, so if any time in the future anybody wants to come back and watch this, this will be on the channel as well. But otherwise,
okay.
for you, I think it's what time? It's evening your time, right?
It's
Pretty late.
11:36.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
So
late.
maybe
So
past my bedtime at this
so
point.
thanks for staying up late and presenting on this, and I hope you have a great
Uh,
rest of your day or evening, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and,
Yeah,
just connecting me with all of, your audience, right? I mean, I just have like a limited number of people back in Bangalore. So yeah, thanks. Thank you so much for having me. And thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope it was fun.
absolutely. Yeah,
And yeah.
100%.
All right. Have a great weekend. Bye
You
bye.
too.